Hello everyone! I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Boom Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you're listening, subscribing and commenting. I really appreciate the support. The California fire smoke has actually come to Ontario, so you can see how far the air travels. It's insane. And so now we have huge smog problems here and like air quality problems. Well, not huge, but we have air quality problems here as well now, which really shows you how interconnected everything is, which is not the topic of this video, but sexuality, female sexuality particularly, is what I wanted to speak about. It's a difficult topic to speak about, obviously, especially for me, because I'm not the kind of person who's used to speaking about sexuality or sex in such an open format, especially on a YouTube video that might be seen by hundreds of people, a few hundred or a few thousand people. It's like, ah! But I got a message recently from a viewer, Lily, and she said something like, I have a very high sex drive. And she's a female from India. I don't know how old. But, she likes to masturbate and she likes watching porn, and her parents or her mother and sister know about this. And she feels so dirty because of it. She feels disgusted with herself. She feels gross. She feels like everything that she touches becomes dirty because she herself is dirty. And it's kind of ironic or sad or whatever you want to call it, but when I was young, I used to think exactly the same thing. I used to think exactly the same thing because I had a very high sex drive from when I was a very young child. I think I started masturbating when I was 12 years old. I think that's what I remember. I'm not really sure. But I started masturbating then. I loved sex. I loved the idea of it. I loved the pleasure that I got from masturbating. But of course, I lived in the Muslim country at that time. And sex was a terrible thing. It's a bad thing. To touch yourself, oh my God, it's the worst thing in the world. Especially as a female, to touch yourself and to give yourself pleasure that way at a young age or old age or whatever age you might be, doesn't really matter. It's a terrible thing, right? I mean, come on. Women are not supposed to feel pleasure. The only reason women have reproductive systems is so that they can reproduce, so they can make babies. And that's the only purpose of it. A female is not supposed to feel pleasure from her systems. That's the idea that has been fed to us, especially in the countries I lived in, which were very patriarchal and very much based upon male pleasure only, female pleasure no, right? And so of course, I loved it and I liked it. Of course, I didn't share it with anyone. I didn't tell anyone that I used to masturbate. I didn't tell anyone that I liked sex. And for the longest time, I used to believe that there was something wrong with me. I believed that there was something adult in my brain, something like screwed up with me, and there's something wrong with me. And I used to believe for the longest time. There were many reasons I believed I was screwed up or there was something wrong with me, but this was a big one. The fact that I loved sex, the fact that I still love sex, the fact that I think sex is a beautiful thing, and it's a union between two people, and pleasure is a beautiful thing, and it's necessary and it's important for health, for female and male health, for anyone's health, whoever you are, whatever your gender might be, however you proclaim yourself to be. It's important. But as I said, for the longest time, because I loved sex and no one around me spoke about it, no one around me at that point the internet wasn't really there, so I couldn't even go online and be like, are there people like me out there? Is sex an all right thing? And so I felt so alone in my sexuality. I felt so dirty, as this individual said. I felt disgusted with myself because I was like, there were these two parts of me where, one part loved the fact that, sexuality is great. This other part was like, no, you're dirty. You're a terrible person. You shouldn't feel pleasure from your reproductive organs. The only reason you have them is to have babies, and you're misusing them, and you're a terrible person. You're a sinner, and you're going to go to hell for this, and you're going to be punished for it, and you're already being punished for it, and you should punish yourself if you're not being punished for it, and things like that. And to actually kind of speak it out loud right now, it feels so liberating, but it also is important because I want to speak to all those women out there, all these girls out there maybe even, who are masturbating and who are being told in their head by society, by parents, by mothers, sisters, brothers, whoever they might be, that they are a terrible person or they're dirty for doing that. They're not. We're not. No, none of us are. But society has a tendency, especially patriarchy, has a tendency to proclaim that male pleasure is the only pleasure in the world. Sex is only there so that men can feel pleasure, so men can orgasm. Women's orgasm, it doesn't really matter because even if we orgasm or don't orgasm, we'll still be able to have babies, right? I mean, it doesn't really matter if you orgasm or not. The only main point of a woman's body is to reproduce, to make babies. And so, okay, cool. So why does it matter? Why do you need to orgasm? Why do you need to have pleasure? You don't. No wonder around the world there are all these weird practices of sewing up or of female, how do you call it? When they sew up female reproductive organs in parts of Africa, where, you know, so that they don't feel pleasure, you know, and they feel extreme pain when they're having sex. But that doesn't matter, because why is it necessary for a female to feel pleasure? It's not important. Only a man should feel pleasure. The whole system of sex is built so that a man can feel pleasure and a woman can reproduce. That's the only purpose of it. The only reason we have this body, the only reason we have boobs, is so that we can feed our babies. The only reason, not for pleasure. The only reason we have our vulva and vagina and all of that stuff down there is so that we can make babies and we can store a baby for 9 months in there and then we can reproduce. Not so we can feel pleasure, you know. We have this body, and we're told this over and over again by patriarchy, by society, that we only have this body so that we can take care of other people with it. It's not for us. It's not ours. It's not for our pleasure. It's not for our use. It's not for us. It's for other people. It's for other people to look at. It's for other people to admire, for men to admire, to look at, to get pleasure from, and to give pleasure to sacrifice ourselves so that we can take care of other people. But not for us. It's not for us. None of this is for us. The only reason we're here to be baby-making machines, right? And you guys can tell, like, this is something that is a topic that I've been thinking about a lot, and that's one of the reasons I started that online publication called Rage Against the Patriarchy on Medium, because it literally is something that causes me to feel extreme rage. What is going on in this world when we are propagating this nonsensical thinking where little girls like Lily are sitting in India somewhere, I have no idea where, and thinking that they're dirty or unworthy because they masturbate? Because they've been given this body by God or by the Creator, and it has these systems. I mean, if you guys know about the clitoris is the only organ in the human body that is it's made for pleasure. It's the only organ in the body. Not the penis, not anything else, not testicles, but the clitoris. The clitoris is the only organ in the body that's made for pleasure only. It's the only purpose it has, is pleasure. Why would the great Creator give us a body like this as a female? Because He didn't want us to feel pleasure? It does not make any sense, and it is completely ridiculous. It's absolutely redonkulous, whatever you want to call it. It is absurd, the idea. And so if you are masturbating right now, if you are a female and you are feeling dirty because of it, don't. You know, your body was given to you not only so that you can serve other people, not only so that you can be a good daughter, a good sister, a good wife, a good whatever. It's not given to you just so that you can use this body in order to give pleasure to other people, to men, to husbands, to partners. But it is yours. This is your body, and if you want to masturbate and have pleasure because of it, go ahead. If you want to touch yourself and get pleasure from it, go ahead. If you want to use your body the way you want to use it, it's your body. You're allowed to do what you want with it. The universe has given it to you for a reason, right? And so I really wanted to do this video, not only because it gives me a lot of rage issues, but because I really wanted to speak to all of those women and girls like Lily out there who are sitting there thinking that they're crazy or dirty. You're not. You really are not. It's a weird idea that has been fed to us by patriarchy, that men are the only ones who are allowed to feel pleasure. Women are not allowed to feel pleasure, right? And even when you are in a relationship, in a lot of cases, I've noticed this with a lot of my girlfriends, they're in their 30s and they still proclaim to me, or they sometimes tell me in whispered tones, I've never had an orgasm. And they're in relationship, they've been married for decades now, or they've been in relationships all of their lives, but they've never had an orgasm because the female pleasure is not given a priority. The man needs to get off, do whatever he needs to do so he can orgasm, and that's it. Once he's done, oh well, yeah, I guess this is all over and done with. I guess we can just go to sleep now. The female pleasure is not given any kind of priority. So what we need to do as females is to take back control and be like, yeah, you know, I'm going to masturbate so I can give myself that pleasure, because obviously a man's not going to take care of that nonsense unless you're really lucky and you're with a man who gives you pleasure. That's awesome. But it is our responsibility to take back that control And if you need to masturbate in order to get that, do it. If you need to get a vibrator or a dildo or some kind of device to do it, do it. You know, it is your body and you're allowed to do it as you wish. Now, unfortunately, a lot of times what happens with females, as I said, we're told that we're dirty and we're sinners if we get pleasure. But a man, he can do whatever he wants. He can rape a woman, he can go out and be a complete man whore. He can go around and have sex with 1,000 women. He can orgasm 10 times a day. And for him, he's not a sinner. He's a man. Oh, good. You're a man. You're a strong, macho man. Awesome. Great. Good. Go for it. Do more of that, right? So in general, we're told as women to be little girls and, you know, stay pure and innocent, whereas men are actually lauded and complimented if they're dirty and you know, they go out and do all those things. So there are different standards for males and females on this planet. It is very apparent, as you see in the world. And so you're not going to give yourself any credit or do yourself any credit if you treat yourself like that, because it's just ridiculous. It's nonsense. And if you subscribe to that nonsense, then you're being an idiot, really, unfortunately. So what we need to learn is to take ourselves away from that thinking and to cut ourselves from that nonsense that we've been fed all of our lives, and to realize that this is my body, I love my body, and I love pleasure, and I want to feel pleasure, so I'm going to do whatever I need to do in order to feel pleasure, because of course no one else seems to give a rat's ass about it, so I need to give a rat's ass about it myself. All right, so I need to take care of my own pleasure needs because no one else is going to do it for me, right? And it's not dirty. It's not something that's unworthy. It's not a sin. It's not anything disgusting. It's normal. If a man is allowed to do it, a woman should be allowed to do it as well. Any gender should be allowed to do it, really. It does not matter. It's pleasure, right? And a woman's body is not only made for reproduction, but for a lot of amazing other things. And we need to be able to be comfortable with that and really get into it. So this video is already a bit long, but I hope I was able to get across the idea to you. Now, a lot of you probably are going to be a little bit upset by this idea. If you are, please just unsubscribe, because I really am not interested in arguing with people who are like, well, you know, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not interested. I really am not. I'm just going to block you. I'm not interested in having a conversation about it. This is my opinion. This is my view. I believe in it. Female pleasure is important. There's nothing wrong with it. And if you have a different opinion, please just go away. Just go away. Don't be on my channel anymore, because I can't handle or stand any kind of patriarchal, nonsensical inequality thinking anymore. I'm really sick of it. I'm just sick of it. All right, I hope this makes sense. I do love all of you guys, even if you are a racist or non-feminist. But I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.